everyone. Welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers YouTube channel. Chris Halicke here, going to break down one of the ways that wide zone can be ran. Since this is an Arthur Smith offense, let's look at one of the variations. And I've gone through this before on our website a couple of times, and I think even whenever I broke down wide zone, I don't remember if I used this exact play or not to show the kinds of variations that you can have, but I really wanted to break down just so you can see and understand some of the responsibilities, what happens, and why it can be ran, why it can be successful. The big feature here is having number 30, Jaylen Warren, in the backfield. He's a good wide zone runner. He obviously has the speed. He has the one-cut ability to be able to run and then, put a foot in the ground and go. That's a great feature that Warren has. When you look at the rest of the running back room, Caleb Johnson ran a lot of wide zone at Iowa. There's nothing that's unfamiliar to him, and he was very successful doing it. Kenneth Gainwell, more of this type of a slasher-type runner that can run this kind of stuff. When you look at the Shanahan tree, which is kind of what this, when you talk about wide zone, this particular wide zone play is called Zorro, in which usually you either have a fullback or you have a second tight end, and here the Steelers are in 12 personnel. You don't see it, but the other tight end is Connor Hayward, and he's lined up to the outside right now over to the left, is that you use him as a moving block pretty much, while the rest of the blocking is outside zone blocking, wide zone blocking, But let's get into the Steelers' variation of this, because, again, going from Kyle Shanahan throughout all the coaches that have been either directly influenced by him or have been directly influenced by other members of the Shanahan tree, which Arthur Smith is, this stuff is going to be in their playbooks it just is. So let's go through this. First off, Russell Wilson moves Connor Hayward in motion. He's going to come over, and he's going to come back, and he's going to stay put right there on the end line, but off the ball. Now, that's to make sure that you don't get an illegal procedure penalty. You can only have so many players up on the line of scrimmage. If he were to move up and beyond the line, then the receiver on this side would have to move back off the line, like Hayward is here. But it's just easier to keep him off the line there. Now, that might be a tell that he's going to move in motion again. But either way, you have to have, there are all kinds of offset formations, so it's not always a tell that he's going to be moving in motion. But the direct responsibilities here is, it has to do with the primary attack point, which is right here. That's where Jaylen Warren wants to go. He wants to go in that hole right there, which is the C gap. A gap, C gap, A gap, B gap, C gap. So that's where he's aiming. And the reason why is the tight end here is going to kick out the edge. Now, to really make sure that edge gets kicked out, what's going to happen right before the snap is Hayward's going to come over in motion, and then he's going to also kick out the edge. Okay. Meanwhile, Broderick Jones needs to get over onto this outside shoulder and get what's called a reach block onto the defensive tackle right there, or defensive end right there. That's what he needs to do. That way, this hole can open up, and Warren has a hole to run through. The rest of the offensive line on the back end all have to make sure that these guys are blocked over and make sure you have leverage on the play side. So this is the play side. So you want to make sure you have all kinds of have leverage on these guys so that they can't come from the back side of the play and blow this up. Frazier will come here and he'll help double team this guy so that he can't be a wrecker. And this is where the different variations come in terms of how you take care of the players on the second level or any players on the backside. Now, since Hayward's going to move in motion and help kick out the edge here with Darnell Washington, Kyle Hamilton right here is going to be unblocked. Now, that happens quite a bit when it comes to running a wide zone or outside zone concept to one side, is that you will leave this guy unblocked because you hope that if everything works out to the play side, that guy's not going to matter. He ends up mattering in this play, mainly because Kyle Hamilton's a really, really good player, but we'll kind of see how this breaks down too. The other main guy that you got to take care of is this play side linebacker. Now, the solution here in Arthur Smith's offense is to have the wide receiver, which is Van Jefferson, run all the way in, sprint in, and just be there long enough to wall him off. Now, if you have a better blocking receiver, this works. It doesn't work as well. This still ends up being a pretty decent run. I think it gains like 6 or 7 yards. But you'll see what happens. All right, so let's get into it. Hayward moves in motion. And like I said, I mean, the ball's not even snapped before he gets over there because you want him to be able to go over there full speed and really help kick out this edge. Because, I mean, that's a lot of momentum going that way. So, and it is always a toss play. Now, Sayamalu's option, or what he does to take his guy out, is just to cut him underneath. You get the double team immediately here between Frazier and McCormick. That takes care of that. Broderick Jones does a really good job with that first step. It also helps that he steps to the inside, because if he doesn't step to the inside, Jones has to make sure that he runs and gets over on this shoulder. So the defensive end actually does him a favor by stepping to the inside, because then Jones doesn't have to do too much to get the proper leverage on that defensive end. Now, you can see Jefferson here. He is crashing down with all his speed and crashes into Malik Harrison, current Steelers linebacker Malik Harrison. And you can see right here, there's the hole. This is blocked up perfectly right now. And if Warren can put a foot in the ground and go and sprint through that, then Hamilton might not matter. I'd prefer, this is just me personally, I'd prefer that the running back's path doesn't start off so wide. Because if you block this up properly, this guy, you're going to be running to the inside. You're going to be running into the C gap because you have two guys who are kicking him out this direction, and rules within wide zone running or outside zone running is to literally go back. Let me rewind this back. Is to literally start off over here, then go based off of the leverage. So if the defender is on this side against this blocker right here, then you would try to cut inside of that. Then you go to the next defender. Where's the leverage of the next defender? So the defender is on this side here. So that means Warren needs to be, the next read is to go inside of that. Then you go to the next defender that was down, which is this guy. Where is he? He is on the inside, so that means that that's your hole. But if this defender were on the outside, if Jones did not get his leverage, then Warren would need to then cut back inside again. So you just literally go back and forth. Can I go there? Can I get outside of that defender? No. Okay. Can I go there? Can I get outside of that defender? No. Can I go there? And you just literally go back across the formation as you run. So here, they have the leverage they need over here, which walls that off. They have the leverage over here, so that is the hole. And the other part of Hayward's responsibility here is to not just kick him out, but then not just kick this guy out, but then to come off of that block and take care of the corner, since he has the speed. Because if he helps kick that off, you trust Darnell Washington to take care of that edge for long enough so that Warren can get upfield. So then Hayward can get up here, take care of him. Then the only guy you really have left unblocked would be this really deep safety. And this is why when everything's blocked up well, this is a home run type rushing concept. Now, you can see Jefferson right here. Just keep your eyes on Jefferson. He comes in and he tries to block that, and Harrison just wins it. I mean, it's just a failure by Van Jefferson. Now, it's a lot to ask a wide receiver to block a linebacker. I get that. But if you can just be there long enough and not fall to the ground so that he stumbles or possibly you run him in to this block right here, then Warren's going to have daylight for days. And then Hamilton doesn't stand a chance because you can see Warren here, when he turns upfield, he has to kind of veer away from that, which slows down because, again, the only way you can be at your absolute fastest if you're running in one straight line. If you're having to constantly move and shift, even if it's just to that side, that gives Hamilton just enough time to catch him and tackle him. But again, you get past, on the first down marker is right there. So you get past the first down marker, you pick up the first down, so it's still a successful play. But it could have been even bigger, right? Now, I think about the 2025 Steelers. How could this look? Could you run this with, you could do 12 personnel, but what if this guy split out on this side isn't Van Jefferson? What if it's Jonnu Smith? Or Pat Freiermuth, and you have a tight end come down to block the linebacker. I feel a lot better about that. And then you could have a wide receiver, maybe DK Metcalf, maybe it's Gabe Davis, or if they sign him, or Robert Woods, or some other blocking type receiver that can be the one that goes in motion and helps kick out the edge here. Because Shanahan's done that. Actually, he's done that with Jawan Jennings, who I just did a Chalk Talk on last week. The Steelers did that with Allen Robinson, where the receiver would literally come in and either help kick out the edge or come in and run through the C gap and look for the play side linebacker. So it is common in these type of concepts for receivers to be active members as blockers. So that's why when you look at who the Steelers need to have on the field in order to run these things successfully, if you're going to run this out of 12 personnel and you have to have two receivers and you don't want to always use your prized guy such as DK Metcalf to be the guy who seeks contact in the C gap, then you got to have somebody else who can. Maybe that's Ben Skoranek, but then when you consider putting Skoranek on the field with two other tight ends, you're pretty much telling the defense that you're going to be running the football. So anyway, so this is I just wanted to help explain one concept, the responsibilities, why this can be a home run type run, and you can see when this gets blocked up properly, again, I like to see the running back's path be a little bit more in this direction rather than be so wide and then cut, because that also gives time where if the guy chasing from the backside is a safety and not an edge rusher, there's a big speed difference there. So either way, this is still a good run, even with Hamilton chasing him down and Jefferson failing at his block. It's still a 6-yard gain. It still moves the chains. It's still a successful play, but you can also see how this play can be even bigger with better blocking, and that's why receivers and tight ends matter so much in an Arthur Smith offense when it comes to running the football, on top of what the offensive line has to do, obviously. So that'll be it for this one. Catch you guys next time. See you later.